covering the world of professional wrestling from post to post. A show for the Busted Open Nation. This is the Nation Corner. Here are your hosts, Front Row, Tony, Justice, and Debhausen.
What is up, pro wrestling fans? Welcome to the Nation's Corner. I am Front Row as always. Joining me are our usual hosts, Debhausen, the Great and Powerful, and Tony Justice, the greatest truck driver of all time. What's up, people?
What is up?
Dealing with this cold weather up here in Minnesota. Good Lord, it's like negative degrees up in here.
Keep it. You can keep it there.
Yeah,
we're getting nice. We're getting nice here in the Queen City this weekend, so I think we're going to get a bit of that. But tonight's a special night, so we're doing a special show tonight. The great Brian Rosa reached out to us and said, "Hey, I got someone that you guys should interview. Someone who's going to be, popping on the scene this year. Has been doing big things lately, and that's JP Harlow. We've seen him on obviously reality wrestling and Mission Pro, and most recently on AEW Dark. So we're pretty excited to talk to JP tonight. I'm going to bring him in now since he's in our waiting room. What's up, JP?
What's up, brother?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Just trying to stay warm down here in San Antonio, Texas.
Rub it in, brother. Rub it in. I'm up here in negative degrees
yeah.
up here in Minnesota.
It's 20 degrees here in PA. I don't want to hear
it. In our defense, I think it got to 35 degrees today. So, in our defense, that's
wow.
It was 48 here in Charlotte. So how are we warmer than you guys?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess there was like a cold front that moved down from the north somewhere, and but to be honest with you guys, I'm actually used to cold. I'm from like Sioux Falls, South Dakota, Ottumwa, Iowa area, so I definitely know your pain. With you being from Minnesota, I definitely know that chilly cold.
Oh no, I'm just up here. I'm from Texas. I'm from Palestine, Texas. I'm just a truck driver. I'm up here. I'll go everywhere.
Okay. Oh wow. Okay. So we kind of switch locations.
Yeah, I'll actually be going through Sioux Falls, South Dakota tomorrow, as a matter of fact. So.
Oh, cool. Are you gonna have any time to look around or anything? Or just driving through.
I've got to get through and go to Gillette, Wyoming to deliver a load.
Okay.
There is a hobby shop that I like to go to in Sioux Falls. I can't remember that. Rainbow Comics.
Rainbow Comics. Yes.
I love that place, man.
Yes.
That is
Rainbow Comics.
That is heaven. I love that place.
Yeah. It's probably definitely I like going to those kind of collectibles comic book shops just to kind of look around. Not that I ever really buy anything, but Rainbow Comics in Sioux Falls, South Dakota is definitely one of the top ones that I've ever been to. So if you're in the area, definitely check it out.
Heck yeah, man! Follow them on Facebook.
Cool. Awesome. So JP, just a little bit about our group. So we're sponsors of Mission Pro Wrestling. We're turnbuckle sponsors. This month will be our first turnbuckle appearance, thankfully. Looking forward to that. So we've been sponsoring for about a year and a half now, and a lot of us have traveled to the different shows. And I was excited to see you in Greensboro. We were there in Greensboro with your match with David Ali. And, since then we've seen you explode. You've been all over the place, all over social media, on Thunder's vlogs and various shows. So I know we want to touch a little bit about your history, but I wanted to focus first on some of the Mission Pro stuff that you have going on. How did you come to be a part of Mission Pro?
So, not to go too far back, but, I was living in Houston. I was working at Reality Wrestling, and then which I still do, but around March of this year, or of last year, 2021, I decided to move to San Antonio, just get a different pace of life, So when I moved to San Antonio, I heard that, Thunder had a school, and I joined, and so I started pretty much just helping out at shows, just setting up the ring, setting up the staging, putting seats out. I was still working, indie shows and stuff like that around the area, but I just liked helping my coach, you know, like I think that's an important thing to do, help your coach. So when I started helping at Mission Pro, it honestly was to never get on the show. I just liked helping, you know. I honestly don't mind setting up a ring. I actually enjoy it. So yeah, like I said, I never really, you know, a lot of times people help with wrestling shows to one day get on the show, you know. But since Mission Pro is an all-female show, you know, I never looked at it as like, oh, I'm helping to get on the show, you know. It was I just wanted to help, just to help my coach, you know. And eventually that summer she asked, she's like, hey, you know, would you like to work you know, a pre-show match? I'm like, wait, what? You know, like that's crazy, you know, because it's an all-female show, you know. So to be spotlighted like that is, I'm forever grateful, honestly.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing because, you know, originally when Mission Pro was rebranded as a women's promotion, we of course expected to only see women's matches. And then I think Thunder had mentioned that it would be an interesting concept to have the reverse of what fans were used to, which is, you know, having one women's match on the card. Now they're going to have just the one men's match, but that shouldn't minimize the work that you guys do, because we've seen the matches, we watch the pay-per-views, and you guys have some banger matches. Like, you guys set the tone. Like I said, I saw you, David Ali. I think we've seen matches like you and Chandler Hopkins. Like, there's been some really solid matches.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know who in the right mind, you know, if you were in my position, I don't know who in your right mind would look at it as like, oh, this, you know, this isn't good. Like, you're on an all-female show. You're the only men's match. This is a spotlight match, you know. Yeah. Even if you only get 3 to 5 minutes, that's 3 to 5 minutes that you get to go out there, show who you are on one of Title Match Network's biggest platforms. I mean, that's how I look at it. I know some people might not look at it the same, but that's how I look at it, and it's paying off. It really is.
Yeah, and we've heard that you know, from the folks that we talk to that are there, that the locker room is super supportive, and that's the men and the women that work there or, you know, come through there. And I think the folks who are in attendance feel that, you know, so obviously someone saw you on the Mission Pro shows and the reality wrestling shows, and then you get a call to be part of a dark taping for AEW. How did that come about?
Yeah, so so that was so I've been working the Mission Pro shows for about, I think, 3-4 months at that point. And you know, people were really seeing what I could do on those shows. You know, you brought up the match with David Ali. I think we went close to 20 minutes on that show. You know, that's crazy. Going 20 minutes on an all-female, like, that's crazy, you know. And then, of course, my match with Chandler, my match with Matt Vandegrift. That's personally one of my favorite matches. That match with Matt Vandegrift was great. What's up? Sorry?
I said I was there for that one live.
I also want to give you huge props, because in Greensboro, your match against David Ali, it was 1,000 degrees that day, and the ring, the ring was in the sun, and I'm pretty sure I saw the ref melting.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I think we only had one ref that show. I felt like, I was like, oh my God, I couldn't imagine being the ref, but you know, that's what we do, you know, especially on the indie scene, you know, we go where we are, you know, where the show is. So if it's 1,000 degrees in Greensboro, North Carolina at the Taco Festival, that's where we're going to be. And we're going to give 100% every time, especially at Mission.
Yeah.
Deb, I know you had a couple questions about the AEW experience.
Yeah, so I just wanted to know, after your match with Andrade, was what feedback did you get from the people at AEW?
So yeah, the match with Andrade was, you know, crazy. So we got there Monday, I think. Yeah, no, we got there Tuesday. And so they actually had like a whole evening of dark tapings, like its own show. Dark and Elevation were on Tuesday that week. And I didn't get on. So I was like, oh dang, that sucks, but that's a business. Sometimes you don't get used, and that's okay. Right. I was just very grateful to have been asked back. Like that's cool too. But then that Wednesday, there was a little rumor floating around that they were going to do another Elevation before Dynamite. I was like, oh, that's crazy. I mean, to be honest, I'd rather be on that Elevation than the Tuesday one, because you're going to have the Dynamite crowd there. Right. And so like a lot of people were like, oh, I hope I get on. I'm like, yeah, I mean, me too. And then I think it was around 4 or 5 o'clock. Captain Sean Dean goes, hey, Jeff, do you see the whiteboard? And I'm like, oh, no, I haven't seen the whiteboard. Why? What's up? He goes, you're wrestling Andrade. And me and Thunder just kind of look at each other. Yeah, and Thunder goes, no, he's not. And so we go to the board, and lo and behold, there's Andrade El Idolo with Jose the assistant versus JP Harlow. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. Wow. And so so me and Andrade, we go have the match. I get to the back. People couldn't have been more supportive. Honestly, they gave me props. They said, "Wow, you did really good out there. You made Andrade look like a mux. You sold your ass off." The producer for that match was the man of 1,000 holds, Dean Malenko. Wow. And which was really cool. He told me, he goes, you look great out there. You sold your ass off. Things. My only one thing is, I wish you should have fought back a little more. Okay. He goes, if that's my one, if that's my one critique, that's good, man. Wow. So I was just like, hey, man, thank you for the opportunity. So yeah.
That's amazing. I've heard nothing but great things about how AEW treats the talent there.
Yes, yeah. Oh, great. They treat their talent. They treat the, let's say the enhancement talent, but they treat their talent phenomenal as well, honestly.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. To have I think for most of us expected that to be a shorter match than it was, just based on who Andrade is. But you got some offense in. Like, it was a good, solid, dark match. I was excited.
You and me both, man. When I was told that I would be wrestling Andrade, I was like, well, he's one of their top guys. I don't expect to be in there for. It said on the 5 minutes. I was like, I don't expect to be on there. And no, Andrade, man, I can't give him more credit, man. He made me look like $1 million, honestly. Like, everyone says how great he is, and he is that great. He really is.
Awesome. At this point, he's pretty much Ric Flair's protege.
Right. Well, I mean, he comes in with the $1 million suits.
Yeah.
He comes in the locker room with the $1 million suits.
Right.
Well, and the cool thing about being on Dark and Dark Elevation on YouTube is it's so much more replayable. You get so many more views a week, a month, a year later than you do with just a regular recorded Dynamite. Like, you record Dynamite, you watch it, and you delete it.
Yeah.
But, you're now searchable as part of their online library. So, like, when I put your name in, AEW comes right up, and there you are. Yeah. It'll be there.
And that's something that's really cool about, this modern wrestling age, I think. A lot of people kind of go, oh, my match is on YouTube. Well, why are you going about that? YouTube is like the fastest way for people to notice you. Honestly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we know that,
like you just said, you can literally.
We know that WWE's YouTube clips get more views than Raw does.
Yeah. Yep. Because it's just so much more easier to sit down and watch, a 6-minute clip than a 3-hour show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that. Absolutely. That's an investment of.
And not to get too much in the weeds, but I had a conversation with somebody who works for one of the companies and does analytics. and the overseas mobile market, the mobile views are like 65%. Like the wrestling companies here in the United States get so much visibility overseas where they're not airing. So I mean, there's that aspect of it as well.
Well, I mean, even let's just relate it to Mission Pro for a second. I mean, Mission Pro is one of the most highly viewed shows on Title Match Network, right? And that's a subscription service. Like, you have to subscribe to the Title Match Network, and people know me as the Mission Pro guy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's just like what's so crazy about the 21st century is, like, I think people would rather watch stuff on like a streaming service or computer than the TV nowadays. I mean,
oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and it's interesting because Title Match Network, has such a vast library online, and yet Mission Pro is their most streamed product right now. So it just goes to show you the growth and the excitement that is around that brand. So let me bring it back to Mission Pro for a second. You're going to be appearing on this month's pay-per-view on the 29th against Kari Wright, who I'm not that familiar with. I'm familiar with you. What can we expect from this?
So, from everything I've gathered, I've gone on YouTube, as we've just talked about, and I've had some discussions with the head booker of Mission Pro, and Kari's from Dallas. He wrestles for DFW, I believe. He's one of their quicker growing stars that they have coming out of Dallas, from what I've gathered, and I think a lot of people are in the same boat as you, as they don't know what to expect from Kari. But I think that's a great thing, Like, I think it's good to be surprised. So I'm excited, and so should you guys.
Yeah, I mean, we're always excited. We know, as Holiday would say, they're always bangers on Mission Pro. So
bangers on bangers, right,
bangers
Tony?
on bangers.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I have a question for you, JP. Going to piggyback on what Deb was talking about. You were talking about Dean Malenko and the advice he gave you after your match. What was one piece of advice that you have received that's resonated with you for your whole career?
Oh, man. So, just give you a little background, Of course, my mentor, my head coach, Thunder Rosa. I've been with her since March. But before that, I've trained with, Eugene. If you remember Eugene from WWE, I trained with him up in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. I've trained with Booker T and all them. But honestly, probably the best piece of advice I would say that I actually kind of heard as of recently, that I've actually heard from all three trainers, Booker, Thunder, and Eugene. It was just kind of one of those things that just clicks,
Mm-hmm.
And that's make people remember you. I know that sounds like very easy, but something I've noticed is a lot of people do the stuff that they see on TV. And I don't know if that's necessarily memorable. I don't even know if that's a real word. But if you're just doing the stuff you see on TV, people are going to think of that guy, in my opinion. So if you can figure out something that's different that people aren't doing on TV, to have the crowd you're performing in remember you, and those that are seeing you at home remember you, that's when start will kind of go up in an upward trajectory. So that's kind of why I've incorporated the titty twisters and the back scratches and the groin stomps, so to speak, just because it's different, and hey, it's working.
Yeah.
Whatever works, right?
Well, that's an interesting thing, because we always talk about that. And I think you hear, the legends of the business say it's not about the matches, it's about the moments. And, growing up for me, my guy was Mick Foley, and he wasn't the most athletic. He wasn't chiseled, But he gave you every week. He gave you these moments that you remember, things I remember 25 years later. And for you, who were some of the folks that gave you those moments, during your time as a young fan?
So it's funny that you bring up moments, because I actually got asked this question the other day. Someone was like, "What do you hope to accomplish in wrestling?" And I said, a lot of people, they want to say money, titles, victories, whatever. What I honestly want to accomplish is moments. I want people to remember. You remember that one time JP did this? You remember when JP did that in Duluth, Minnesota? That's I want to create moments. And so it's funny you bring up Mick Foley, because he's probably one of the most memorable wrestlers of all time. So when I got into wrestling, it wasn't because of The Rock. It wasn't because of Stone Cold. I actually got into wrestling because of I fell in love with wrestling because of Goldust.
Okay.
So when I started watching wrestling, it was around 2003 with my grandparents. And that was around the time he kind of had the stuttering gimmick, and he was teaming with Booker T, and he was dressing up like a lumberjack and Darth Vader. That was, as a kid, I didn't understand the subliminal jokes that they were making, but it was just funny to me, so Goldust, I loved Hurricane. You get a superhero, he goes for the choke slam every week, and then they take it away from him. Scotty Too Hottie, the Worm, and another guy that Eugene. I loved watching Eugene as a kid. It was just different. It was memorable. And then another guy was Tajiri, because of the Mist. Mm-hmm. I'd never seen anyone do the Mist before. I know Muda and all that. I wasn't born when they were, and I didn't have the capabilities of watching it then. The only person I knew that did the Mist was Tajiri. And I thought that was the coolest thing. So whenever I play the video games, I try to miss people with Tajiri all the time.
Nice. So it's not only the moments in the matches, but it's those entrances. And we were talking last night when we were on our Zoom group that some of the entrances in wrestling, especially today, are so over the top and so exciting. You've got Punk's traditional entrance. When that music hits, people lose their mind. They've got Jungle Boy's entrance now with that with that music, and of course when Thunder comes out, people lose their collective shit.
We've seen it live.
Yeah, we have all seen it live. But there are some pretty exciting ones, and you go back and I'm a little older. I'm 50 years old, so I went to Raw and SmackDown and all that stuff back in the Attitude Era, and I got to see Stone Cold's entrance live. So for you looking at the landscape today, there's obviously so many opportunities for folks, skilled like yourself. Who are some of the folks that you'd like to get in there and mix it up with, make some excitement?
Man, so I mean, Finn Balor is definitely one that comes off the top of my mind. Demon Finn Balor, just because I want to be in the ring and feel that entrance. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Not necessarily the regular, ordinary Finn Balor. I want to feel the demon entrance. I was there live at TLC when he wrestled AJ that one time. Mm-hmm. And when he came out as a demon, it's just there was just a different atmosphere. I mean, people. Yeah. I don't know if you noticed this when watching the match. People literally stood up as soon as the demon heartbeat started going off, and they did not sit down until both men had gone to the back. Wow. It was just one of those things where it was just I don't want to say an out-of-body experience, but it was just I can't imagine being in the ring, this grand entrance of the demon, and then looking around and being wow, these people are literally not sitting down. This, it was a 20-minute match, and people stood the entire time. So I definitely say Finn Balor from that aspect. And then you've got the Bryan Danielson. He was somebody, as far as like when I was growing up, being like, oh, he's like my height and build. Like maybe I could do this. So I think it'd be really cool to like, wrestle one of the probably greatest technical wrestlers in the world, possibly ever. But also just have that like, you kind of me go down this path of maybe I have a shot at this too, And I'd love to get a one-on-one with Thunder Rosa.
Yes. Yeah, I was just going to say, as far as your work in Mission Pro, other than Thunder, is there any other women in Mission Pro that you'd like to have a match with? A mixed match or a mixed tag team match?
I mean, I think that's the great thing about Mission Pro is like literally all of the women on that show I would love to get in with. Because there's a lot of tenured women on that show, on the Mission Pro show. Like there's a lot of seasoned vets on the Mission Pro show that not only I think I could have a great match with, but B, just learn from. Like when I was wrestling Andrade, it was kind of funny. I was learning from him while wrestling him. And so I think if I got in the ring with like a Holodead or a La Rosa or, a Genocide or someone, I'd have that cool experience like I had with Andrade where I'm learning while I'm wrestling,
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So obviously you guys travel all over the place, and I was privy to some of the conversations in the Greensboro trip, which was eventful. But Brian may have asked me to ask you a question about a recent event with possibly Thunder's new truck. Could you share some of that with us? Is that story with us?
Well, I can. I don't know if Thunder wants me to, but I'll definitely get into it if that's what Brian asked you to ask me. So it was the last Conroe. No, it was the Conroe show that had David LaGreca on it, right?
Sea to Shining Sea. Yep.
Yes, Sea to Shining Sea. Yes. So we left early in the morning, right? And so we got the trailer, we got everything hooked up, we checked the back, we're ready to go. We stop at a gas station, a Quick Trip, right, which was right next to their apartment at the time, and we're filling up. Okay, we're good. We go get some drinks for the road and water and Gatorade, and then we head out. And then all of a sudden we start feeling the truck kind of go, grr, grr. And we're like, oh, that's weird. And then Brian, it happens a couple more times, and Brian goes, check the receipt. I'm like, okay. I checked the receipt. As soon as I looked at the receipt, I said, I was like, we need to get this truck off the road now. Because we accidentally put unleaded gas into a diesel truck.
Oh no.
Yeah. So
we all collectively just
don't.
So we pull off the road. Brian's beside himself. He's like, gosh dang it, not today. We've got so much going on with David and Gabby and Mark that's going to be like, we cannot have this be happening today. And so, my father is a diesel mechanic back in Iowa. So I called him, like, he just clocked in for work. I called him, he goes, what? And I'm like, so Brian just put unleaded gas in the diesel truck. And he goes, oh no. He just goes, oh no. I'm like, he goes, how far did you drive it? And I'm like, about 15 miles. And he goes, oh God. I was like, is there any way we can save this truck? He goes, well, first off, you need to get that thing towed to like the nearest dealership. He goes, hopefully, it didn't get into like any of the fuel injectors, which it probably did at this point, but like maybe it didn't get all of them. Cross your fingers. And so we figured it out. A friend came, helped us get everything loaded. We got the trailer. We took his truck, and luckily for Brian, the unleaded gas did not get to all the fuel injectors, so they fixed it up squeaky clean.
Wow.
Nice.
So, of course, my first question is, who made the phone call to Thunder?
Right.
So that was Brian, and let's just say she was a little upset.
Ah,
She was a little upset.
Upset like
No,
she started saying insanity in Spanish?
Later on in the conversation, yeah, the initial hello was definitely in English. I definitely understood what she said. But no, I mean for everything that happened, for everything that was going on that day, though, I mean, Brian was mad at himself. Was like, gosh dang it, like. But at the end of the day, it's one of those wrestling stories that I'm gonna be able to tell for generations. And
It'll live on.
Yep.
And yeah, so we got a good story out of it. And at the end of the day, the show went on without a hitch after that.
Yeah.
Honestly, so
That
was a great
we
show.
went out there. We got the ring. Yep.
So I just have one more quick question for you. I'm a big fan of the vlogs. I've seen you on Thunder's travel vlog. It's a lot of fun. But you did your own vlog. You did a Taco Bell vlog. And I think it was one of the funniest things I've seen in a long time, because you presented Taco Bell as this mom and pop local establishment. It was spectacular. It was hilarious. But come to San Antonio. You can check out our. What was the process behind this? It was amazing.
So I did it on my own, honestly. Like I was kind of worried people may get offended, I guess. So like I just decided to film it on my own. I actually grabbed a guy from I just grabbed a friend. I said, hey, I'll take you to I'll go buy some Taco Bell, but you got to go film this thing for me. And so, like, yeah, no problem, man. So free Taco Bell, sure. So we go to Taco Bell. I film it. It was just something, because I like funny. I like moments. I like funny moments. I think that is what wrestling has really been built on, is funny moments. Entertaining moments, I should say. Entertaining moments. And so, I'm constantly thinking of different funny things to do, and like how to capture that. Because, with my spot at Mission Pro, I don't think it's really my job to be the uber serious, I'm gonna cast, character. Even though I'm, did amateur wrestling for years, played college football, blah, 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 blah. I can kick ass, but that's just not who I am. I like to be entertaining.
Right.
And I think when you're the only men's match on an all-female show, your job is to be entertaining. We have 10 other ass kickers, on this show that are going to give you the, 20-minute, blow for blow action. I like to bring the entertainment. I call myself the best technical entertainer in sports entertainment, because that's what it is to me. That's what I understand, the athletic and the hard work, passion of it. And I bring that every day. I bust my hump every day to be the best wrestler I can be. But at the end of the day, people want to be entertained. And so that's what I hope I bring in my matches and in my promos, is to be entertaining. because to me, the promos where, you know, people are just kind of, I'm going to beat you up. Come this Saturday, I'm going to give you what's yours. Like, that's not necessarily entertaining to me and makes me want to watch. But I see this doof in Willy Wonka glasses standing outside of a Taco Bell talking about how it's authentic Mexican cuisine. That might pique my interest a little bit, you know? So I just went ahead and filmed it. I sent it to Mission Pro. I said, hey, I don't know how you guys feel about this promo, but let me know. And next thing I know, it was posted, and I'm like, oh, here we go. And then no, I'm a little upset because I filmed the Chuck E. Cheese promo, right? I wanted to go inside the Chuck E. Cheese and film it, but I got in trouble because they were like, "You're not even here to buy pizza. You're like filming." like, in retrospect, yeah, it probably didn't look the most appropriate, you know, me filming inside of a Chuck E. Cheese, but like, I you know, it was still a fun, entertaining promo. But just imagine what I could have done inside that Chuck E. Cheese.
Next time you'll get the proper clearances.
Yeah, I'll get the proper paperwork.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's where it's at. Deb will tell you. Deb watches a lot of the vlogs. We all watch a lot of the vlogs, and that's where the content that people are gravitating toward, that's where it lives. And that's the layer that people are telling stories right now. It almost seems like what happens in the ring is just the last step in the story and last chapter in a story. And all of this stuff is happening, you know, on YouTube and on social media.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know, actually one of my resolutions this year was to actually be so much better at social media, because it was, I wish I could remember whose seminar it was, but I went to a seminar a while ago where actually it was D'Lo Brown. It was a D'Lo Brown seminar. You know, and hearing, I don't say an old timer, but you know, an old school guy say you have to have a social media presence in 2022. I mean, not 2022, it's been like 2020. In 2020, to me, that was just like, well, then it's got to be important. You know, not just because he's an old school guy, but because he's also D'Lo, you know, freaking Brown. He's a legend. But like hearing an old school guy say you have to have a social media presence to get in wrestling nowadays, like that really was just like, whoa. Because usually when you go to like, you know, the old school seminars, it's usually, you know, in-ring work, you know, work on your body, make sure, blah, 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 which is all important stuff. But to, you know, hear a legend say you have to have a social media, you have to be good at social media, that was just like, whoa, hold on a second. Like that's important, you know? And so, you know, in 2022, I'm definitely going to try and up my social media game the best I can. You know, I bought a video camera, so I've got that. I've got podcasting equipment. I've got all the tools. Now I just got to use them.
Yeah. That's exciting, because I mean, we look across the landscape, and the most exciting things that are happening on TV usually have their origins in social media. We look just a couple of years back at Ronda and Becky and what they did. You know, they carried their feud 24/7, and the fans didn't know what was reality and what was not. And to this day, it was still one of the most exciting, compelling things I've seen.
And especially with the whole YouTube thing, I'm currently listening to Matt Cardona, True Long Island Story, and he's chronicling the story of Zack Ryder 10 years ago and how important that was for his entire career.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a guy, I mean, you know, Zach is kind of, or I guess Matt Cardona, he's kind of getting his, you know, his just due now that he's, you know, on the indie scene and he's working everywhere. Mm-hmm. But that's a guy that I've always said never gets the credit he deserves when it comes to this wrestling revolution. Like, you go back to 2009, 2010, nobody was posting stuff on Twitter. Nobody was posting stuff on Instagram. Nobody was posting stuff on YouTube. But you know who was? Zack Ryder.
You're right.
And I mean, it got him to the point where Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is in the middle of the ring and people are chanting, "We want Ryder." So what does that tell you about social media? You know, that's insane.
Right. I'm a big Funko Pop collector. I have over 350 pops. Don't judge. And the first pop that I ever bought was the Zack Ryder pop that I bought as a birthday present for a friend.
That's awesome.
And that was the first one that I ever got.
Well, if you like Funko, I got two right here. I got the Peacemaker.
Oh yes.
Oh, Front Row. We are huge Peacemaker fans.
I saw your cosplay.
Oh, that's awesome.
I saw you as Peacemaker, and it was amazing.
Peacemaker is my new favorite thing right now.
Are you loving the show?
Oh, I love the show. The show is phenomenal. Oh my gosh, that show is hilarious. I haven't seen the new episode that dropped today. I've been pretty busy today, but I'm gonna watch it tonight.
Yeah.
And that show had me belly laughing.
And I love
it's funny. I actually wrestled a whole match as Peacemaker.
Amazing. Amazing.
I saw your IG. It's interesting because Cena is actually carrying that character in interviews, in commercials. Like, he's Peacemaker everywhere, and it's I want to see Peacemaker come out in the Rumble, not Cena. I want to see Peacemaker in the Rumble this year.
I mean, I can't even imagine the pop he would get as soon as like the "Do you really want to?"
Oh my God, the theme song is fantastic.
But he has to do the dance
like that.
Yeah, the dance.
Oh yeah, he's gotta walk out like that to the ring. Yeah, it'd be that place would come unglued.
Yes.
No, the show's great. Yeah, that'd be amazing. And you know, to John Cena's credit, I mean, again, go back to the social media thing we were just talking about. That dude is Peacemaker 24/7. Every time you see social media, it's Peacemaker. So what are people going to inherently do? Look up Peacemaker. That all goes back to the power of social media.
Yep. He was on the Tonight Show in full costume.
Yeah. Yes, he was. Yes, he was.
Yeah, social media is a constant promotion machine, and you can use it to your advantage anytime you want. It doesn't matter. You can promote whenever you want, and that's what
look at Danhausen. You know, like before he did the Danhausen thing, you know, I think he was just kind of working, you know, the Chicago shows and like some shows in Iowa, and then he started doing this, you know, off the wall Danhausen gimmick, and now he's viewed as a top commodity on like the indie scene and Ring of Honor. I mean, he was on Conan. He was on the Conan podcast or something like that. Like that's insane. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, but that's crazy. An indie wrestler on the Conan podcast. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's all because of the creativity and content. And that was during the pandemic. And now that he's injured, he's doing so much exciting things on social media, and he's not even wrestling.
Right. I'm a huge Danhausen fan, obviously, with my little name here. And I became a huge fan of his over the pandemic. I've never seen him wrestle a match. I've gone on YouTube and watched some previous matches of his, but I've never seen him wrestle.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing is like, you know, I don't want to sound like sometimes people get caught up in the wrestling, you know? Sometimes you just have to have a great character. You know, sometimes it's just that easy. Sometimes you just have to have a great character. And like you said, you've never seen Danhausen wrestle. Well, how can you be a fan of him? Well, because he's so eccentric. He's so charismatic. He's so, you know, Danhausen. That's why you're a fan.
Yeah, he's just hilarious. I'm a big fan of Ethan Page's vlog. I'm a Patreon subscriber for Ethan Page. And he did a toy hunt with Ethan Page where they went to like a collectible store, and he was just gold the entire time.
Yeah. And I mean, if you're going to play a character like that of Danhausen, you can't turn it off, like that. You gotta, it's like the John Cena Peacemaker thing. You gotta keep it on 24/7.
You gotta commit.
Yep. Well, speaking of Patreon, I want everybody to go out and check out Thunder Rosa's new Patreon, because you will see JP Harlow there on the travel vlogs. Some really fun stuff. There's some unedited, uncut, long-form versions of the videos there that you won't see on the YouTube channel. So make sure you're subscribing over there. There's a lot of fun stuff. JP, we really enjoyed talking to you tonight. We can't wait to see you at the Mission Pro pay-per-view at Crazy Train in 2 weeks, and we're looking forward to seeing more exciting things for you in the future. We appreciate your time tonight.
Hey, thank you guys for having me on. This was truly an honor. Appreciate it big time. Thank you guys.
So where can people find you on the socials?
You can find me at JP Harlow _2 on both Twitter and Instagram. The JP Harlow Facebook page isn't really popping, but like I said, working on the whole social media thing in 2022.
This is your year.
But yeah, yep, JP Harlow _2 at Twitter and Instagram.
Cool.
All right.
Well, everybody stay tuned. Go look up JP on the socials, and stay tuned to the Mission Pro social media, YouTube channel, and all of Thunder's content. We appreciate your time, and take care, man.
Yep. Thank you, guys.
Thank
Stay
you.
warm.
Thanks, but I'm trying.
Well, that was an exciting conversation with JP. Man, seeing him wrestle live, he's really, really good, and he's really fun. Like, he switches it on from, okay, the match is starting off fun, but then he goes in and he kicks ass. So I think, especially since he's, getting such a good look at AEW, and obviously, hopefully they have him back over and over again to the point where, he's there permanently. But
yeah,
it was a fun conversation.
Yeah, I'm excited for the future for him.
Oh, yeah. He's a very entertaining wrestler. I saw him wrestle live at Sea to Shining Sea, Matt Vandergriff, when he wrestled him. That was an amazing, amazing match. So, yeah, I'm excited to see what's next for him.
Cool. Well, guys, unless there's anything else, I think we're going to wrap it up tonight. We're going to do a full show live this weekend. I'm not sure when this is going to air, but we'll be live on Saturday, and then the week following will be the Crazy Train, rather. This weekend we'll be talking Mission Pro and GCW, because the big Hammerstein show is this weekend, so it's going to be pretty exciting.
Cool.
I'm very excited for that.
All right, where can everybody find you on the socials, Deb?
At That's So Debonair on Twitter.
And I am at Tony Justice, AJFA. And those that are Metallica fans, you know what that means. Yeah.
And I am PW Front Row on all the socials. We can be found on Twitter at Nation's Corner, and all the rest of the platforms at the Nation's Corner. Guys, good show tonight. Appreciate you. We'll see everybody next week, and enjoy your time in wrestling.